slaves uh, or I
They
guess you
would
could
be
say
Roman. They'd be
entertainment
Roman.
for the
They'd be
soldiers.
Roman, basically. They become Roman because if the guy took her, she's going to become Roman. So that legacy didn't mean anything. Your wife just switched teams. That's all. So you saved her so that she can become
somebody else's
part of
teammate.
Exactly.
Well,
But
like I
you
said,
can feel better for yourself for falling on that sword for her.
well, I mean, like I said, I mean, I don't write the rules of history, but that's just the way things have always been.
Next. But go ahead.
Drew, I don't know. From what I understand, he was taking it like a fist, just to let you know.
Y'all got how many fingers? Y'all really going in. But go ahead.
Y'all
What's
gotta
your
go watch our
comment
show
on
for
the
this.
female?
Salute to the panel, by the way.
Salute, man.
I just want to say this, guys, man. Let me piggyback on Noah's speech, man. I feel like, and I'll just keep it blunt and honest, man. I feel like the guy has a my way or the highway mentality, and it's like I feel like you gotta have some kind of source of emotional intelligence. Like when I listen to Fearless, you can tell this brother has a high level of emotional intelligence. Like when he brought his wife to the safe, he wanted her to succeed. That's a man that's treating his wife as a human being. No excuse wants a slave, man, and that's a bad look. He wants a my way or the highway, and it doesn't work that way, man. You gotta treat your women like your partner, your best friend. You can't be looking down at her and all that. And I feel like, I know he's looking for another marriage. I just don't think it's not gonna last. Or it's not gonna be successful. It's three of y'all guys. Y'all doing the right thing. Y'all very, very experienced. That's why I enjoy this panel. I could have been in Razor Rays right now. He's live right now. But y'all just dropped so many info. Like Razor Rays is good for entertainment. Y'all dropped some good info just in terms of just like relationships, a lot of things. Like so, sometimes I just sit back and just take notes, and I land my fingers there.
Appreciate that.
And sometimes you got to listen to the other things. Like Black Man Travels. I remember when I was in Cuba, and he's like, "Yeah, I'm bringing my wife back. She's this." And a lot of guys would be like, "Why? You scared? When you travel to all places, and I have a good woman, and she supports you, because we talked some things behind the scenes, and I think he said some. I won't say any, but you really know your significant other when things are not in your favor, and things have gone wrong, when the chips are down, and you can look over and say, things aren't the best right now, and they look at you and be like, "We got this." That's the difference.
You got a rider.
Mm-hmm. And I have no problem with no excuses. I just think that he's saying two things at once. He's saying, I don't want someone who has the power to leave me or do that, but then I also want someone who can do it, but I want them to be traditional and not have this. And I think that's an opposite of what he's trying to get.
I mean, are you guys?
Bad. I'm not. Go ahead, Darnell.
I was just going to ask a question. I just want to make sure. I mean, because I did join kind of in the middle of it. I just want to make sure you guys didn't take his words out of context, did you?
No, I think I know. I mean, I have no problem with what he said when he said, "Hey, because I said I worked hard, I've done this, and I have a certain expectation of what I want." I have no problem with that at all. And if you're going to work hard and you're going to get it, you should deserve everything you want. I have no issue with that. But I think you can't change a person. You have to vet them where they're at and to see where they're at, and accept them, either accept them where they're at or don't accept them at all. And I think what happens is she was saying some signs that let him know early that that was not going to fit into his personality trait. And I think maybe he thought he could change her or mold her into something. And that's why I said, hey, you know, you have your culture, you have your music. If somebody says you can't listen to your music, you wouldn't want that. And I think that's maybe where he was blinded by thinking that, you know, hey, I offer this, I do this. And because I offer these things, you won't leave. And to her, she was like, the money, it was inconsequential. I wanted something else other than the money.
Yeah, I'll be honest. I made that mistake, you know, with my ex-fiance. I made the very same mistake. So I definitely can't criticize. But you know, the thing is that, you know, and it could be that what he was trying to say is that it's not necessarily that he doesn't mind her having a career or anything. It's just doesn't want to be used as, say, a stepping stone, because there is that where, okay, you are used, and even American women here do that, and the statistics will back me up on this now that 40% of households are ran by women, you know, where, okay, they marry somebody, they use them as a stepping stone, 7 years later they get the 7-year itch, and I'm ready for a divorce. I out earn him. He doesn't make enough for me. I don't feel secure anymore, you know, or I can do better.
I'm going to kind of disagree with you, because if you bring your masculinity to it, you get it. Because I know some girls that I know some women who are lawyers that deal with the pookies who ain't got no job. So they outgrew them a long time ago. So it didn't have anything to do with that. If you're coming into it as a man with confidence, you lead the household no matter your income.
So let me ask you this. So, I mean, what was Corey Hardrick's problem with Tia Mowry?
Hold on. I don't want to introduce anybody else into the conversation, because then we're going off bases.
No, it has to do with the topic.
I know, but we're going way off. I want to stay in the moment where we're talking about as far as the man's presence in a relationship over their own child, even. I want to get Passport Blueprint's comment and also Glow Spinner before we move on to a whole nother sphere of a conversation.
Hey, I'm going to give Darnell a little bit of a pushback on what he just said, because here's the thing. You're saying that, you know, you get these women from foreign countries, you bring them back, and they
Can you speak up? Can you speak up?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, that's better right there.
Right there? Okay. Here's the problem with that ideology that you just came up with. You're talking about two different cultures. You're talking, you're applying a westernized culture to a different culture, because you're talking about these women from overseas, which are more family oriented. You're talking about bringing them back here. They use you as a stepping stone, and then they toss you out. How do you know that's going to happen? You're applying a modern woman mindset that we're trying to get away from. You're going to another culture that doesn't have that mindset, but you're applying it to them. You're mixing two things together. That's where the problem comes in. Okay, if these women come from very strong family oriented background, where if this modern women philosophy, they got to be careful about that, because it's going to ruin their family, and they don't want to put any dishonor towards their family. So you can't mix those. You got to be careful about mixing those two together and preaching that, because it can be, you know, you're sending the wrong message out, because we don't know. Because if we just heard from Fearless and from Black Man Travels how their wives are just combining, you know, talking to each other and telling them how they can grow and, you know, survive, you know, as wives in America. You know, they're giving each other advice and stuff like that. They're not doing this, you know, stuff that you're trying to, you know, go out and stuff like, you know, you're trying to preach and stuff. So you have to be careful about that messaging and stuff, because that messaging is what's screwing up not just you, but I hear it from a lot of people, don't bring the women back here because, oh, their mind's going to get polluted. If you don't vet these women correctly, and, you're going to have those problems. And the problem with No Excuse, God bless him. He's a cool guy. I've been on, a couple of his shows. He's really cool. But the problem is he wasn't there most of the time with his wife. Even when they was doing courtship, he wasn't there most of the time. That's where the problem comes in. You have to be there. And that's the problem with long distance relationships. Long distance relationships require you to show some type, you have to be there a lot. I know I'm quite sure he is a very good guy and he has a very good heart. But when you're talking about having a long distance marriage, that should have been a decision where you got married. One of y'all should have moved. One of y'all should have went to one of those countries. Because when you get to that stage, that's it. Somebody's giving up something.
Yep.
In Passport Blueprint, I say if he did that same thing in Africa, where he met a girl, dated her, and married her, and wasn't there, I think the result would be the exact same.
If I can respond to Passport Blueprint, but
real quick, make it short because we got to get other people on the panel active too. So go ahead.
Oh, absolutely. So Passport Blueprint, I just want to use my ex-fiance as an example. She was that small town girl, came from a good family, Christian background, very conservative, very religious family background. Now, the thing is that I did notice certain things. I ignored red flags. But the thing is that I can't say for sure. I'm not saying my ex was a horrible person. At the time when she left me, I felt like she was a horrible person. But I think since I've, came to have some understanding that, hey, I was just as culpable in that. But the thing is that there was certain key words, things that she would say, things that she would do, and reality struck me. And again, maybe it might be because I do, or at least I did listen to Fresh and Fit. But when they say that female nature is female nature, no matter where you at in the world, that's true.
What's female nature? What's female nature, brother? What's female nature?
Are you talking about hypergamy?
Correct.
I want to know
hypergamy.
All right, let me tell you this. When my wife came here, I told her when I met her, I said, look, I'm going to school. I'm going to finish up this career. Because she wanted to get married. I said, you can come here. Ain't going to be no money. When my wife came here, she worked not one job. She worked 2 jobs. And you know what I did? I went to school full time. We had an agreement. I said, you just got to roll with me for about 2.5, 3 years. I got you. So hypergamy, she made more than me. I said, I got enough. I paid my mortgage up for 3 years. I wasn't making no money. She brought the money in. And you know where all that paycheck went? Straight to me. Because she said, you still run the household. I don't care what I make. So it wasn't hypergamy. And then I 10x'd her. So where was the hypergamy at? She had the opportunity to come to America. She worked 2 jobs that she didn't have to. Where was the hypergamy? It's how you vet them, bro. It's the person that they see what you're going to do. And as a man, if they look at you and say, I already see your potential. I see that if your manhood is dependent on the size of your wallet, you're not a man.
Yeah.
That's straight off right there.
It has not. I'm not saying it's just has to do with wallet. Hypergamy doesn't necessarily mean wallet. Hypergamy is just simply put, the definition of hypergamy is the act of dating up.
Okay,
Doesn't necessarily.
So Darnell, let me ask you this. And I'll play the devil's advocate, right?
Okay.
So if you had a daughter, wouldn't you want your daughter to date the best out of the best man, like the guy who's the CEO, executive, and all that, right? That's basically hypergamy, right? You want the best for your daughter at the end of the day, and what is wrong with hypergamy?
Oh, nothing. Nothing at all.
Okay,
I'm not saying hypergamy is bad.
Okay.
Hold on. I got something for this, and then I want to hear from Globe Spinner and his point of view, because Globe Spinner is currently in a situationship with a very, I would say, high-end female and a nice family out of Colombia. But I'm gonna play this real quick.
Don't you listen to these funky ass niggas tell you shit.
And I'm saying that is because you say you listen to Fresh and Fit. Neither one of those men ever been in a serious relationship enough to where they committed and actually got married. Why the fuck are you listening to two single dudes that all they're talking about is box and how to get laid versus actually having a serious, legitimate marriage and a relationship?
Well, I said I did.
But the whole
listen
thing
to
is,
Fresh and Fit.
it's still going
Past
on.
tense.
The whole thing is, it's still going on.
Even if
And these guys are still talking the same thing, and they haven't even progressed in their lives.
See,
This has
even
been
if
going
you
on for
Absolutely.
did,
5 years.
even if you did, and you feel ashamed about it, why bring it up in a panel? And why bring it up in a serious conversation where we're talking about serious
But
things?
it's okay that he brought it up. I just wanted to make that point that in the past, you were listening to somebody that shouldn't be giving out that type of advice because they've never been in a serious relationship, never been married, and can't walk you down that process in order to get married because these two knuckleheads were never looking to get married. They're looking to get boxed and popularity. But I want to hear from Globe Spinner, and you can talk about what we were talking about with the marriage thing, or you can talk about with the choice between the woman saying she wants her husband, or bring up the situation that you're in right now and how the culture that you're dealing with and how the family that you're dealing with your current girlfriend and your situation. It's up to you, whatever you want to talk about.
All right, appreciate it. Thank you guys for inviting me to the panel tonight. And I wanted to commend Rob with No Excuse or Passport Bros broadcast, definitely for the transparency about his personal situation.
Correct.
He didn't have to do that. So I appreciate him, just kind of explaining it from his perspective. And so that takes a lot of guts, and I appreciate that. I wanted to push back on a few things that he said because, Latin American women, regardless if you're dating Latin American women, African women, Asian women, Eastern European women, to a certain extent, they're going to all be the same. They may be different language, different culture, but they're going to have very similar expectations. And so I think that he vetted her well to a certain point. I agree with Fearless that he did miss some red flags, but I think he vetted her from a dating perspective. But you have to take it a next level up. And whether that's bringing her to the US or you moving to her country, because you don't really know what it's like living with that woman until you're actually in the same state and you're living with her, right? And so I think he might have failed from that point, which was probably moved for a year or two to Colombia. If he couldn't have done that, then perhaps he should have brought her to the States. And from my understanding, with me talking to her personally, that wasn't really an option. And so I think with African women, I've dated African women. I dated a college-educated Kenyan woman. You know what I'm saying? Came from a very well-off family back in Kenya. And one thing I can say about, just like I respect African-American women, I respect African women too, but African women are very similar, like Asian women. They play the long game too as well. I'm not going to generalize and say all of them, but they have the ability or the audacity to be submissive in the beginning, and then they'll switch it up as well too. You know what I'm saying? So I think that while a lot of passport bros are glamorizing going to Kenya, South Africa, Uganda, I have women in East Africa that I'm friends with, in Uganda, in South Africa, and they've given me a lot of game about African women. So just because you think that they're submissive doesn't mean that they're more submissive than American Black women. You know what I'm saying? What I like to say is they playing a different game than American Black women. While American Black women may be playing chess and checkers with you, they're playing a totally different game. So you got to be careful when you're comparing women. You know what I'm saying? So I think that when he made a statement that, well, Latin American women are not for me, I think just the choices he's chose might not have been for him. You can
Yeah.
find Latin American women, whether it's Brazil, whether it's Colombia, Argentina, Paraguay. You can find submissive. Latin
Expand
American
on the
women.
situation. You're dating a educator's daughter. She's
Right.
educated,
Yeah.
and,
So
and
her
they're
father,
good people in Colombia. So,
yeah. So her father's a professor, and she's college educated. I don't know how well her degree translates here to America because she studied public administration, more into politics. But she's in my opinion, she's a very submissive woman. But I'm not very naive to think that maybe if she comes here, maybe she could change a little bit. So my goal is to either work abroad, rather working at an international school and bringing her along, maybe on a fiance or a spousal visa, or perhaps me living in Colombia for a year or two. I think that there's still, even though we've dated for 2 years, I still need to vet her living together. You know what I'm saying? Because, no, go ahead.
Oh, I apologize for cutting you off. I just wanted to ask you really quickly. So would you agree that no matter where you're at in the world, female nature is female nature? Would you agree with that statement? Yes or no?
I agree with it to a certain extent. I do think female nature is female nature, but I think you got to study the woman and her culture, period. Because, every culture have different expectations as to what they expect of their men. And so I think that regardless if you're dating a Filipino woman or you're dating a Colombian woman, they're going to have different expectations. Some women are willing to go 50-50 with you. And not all foreign women will do it, but some will. I've dated Brazilian women that have their own homes, that are professionals, that don't mind going 50-50 with you. And so, we paint a narrative because we date 1 or 2 women in that culture that all women are like that, the same, but that's not true. Some brothers have told me don't date Afro-Brazilian women, but I've had great success with Afro-Brazilian women. In fact, they've been like, when are you coming to move down here? But personally now, I'm dating a Colombian woman. We've been together for 2 years. And so she's 100% for the idea of me moving down there, and she's okay if I decide to do the fiance visa and bring her here. I just think that now with the current
does she have a desire to come to America? We talked about that.
She's always said that wherever you at in the world, that's where I want to be. So she's never put the pressure that we have to live in America.
Okay. Yeah. Let me read this $5 super chat real quick. I don't want to belabor. Plus, brother was on the panel. Passport Bro Podcast. Thank you for the $4.99 super chat. He says, love and passports took 7 years to move to DR for his wife. He talks about her patience all the time. So yeah, women involved in a relationship have to be patient as well. And here's the word that I didn't use: expectations. We all have to have a ability to communicate expectations and the way the relationship is going and what we expect from each other, and then future expectations on as the relationship progresses, because we're all going to change. Expectations are going to change. Situations are going to cause expectations to change. So there's always got to be a constant communication and update on expectations on what's going on currently and that climate of whatever's going on in a relationship. And it's a constantly evolving thing. So when you, like in the LDR, if you're in a long distance relationship, those expectations could change on a fly and you don't communicate well. And then somebody's thinking you're going to be picking up the slack, and there's always 2 sides to a story. And one person's thinking you're supposed to be doing, the other person's pointing the finger and thinking, oh, that was on me, my fault. But who's going to release the ego enough to actually take the blame? And that's where sometimes even a long distance relationship, it can get tied down or bogged down on perception and expectation. I want to get Mercy Justice in on the conversation because he's been patiently waiting, and I know sometimes he drops off. So Mercy, is your mic working? Unmute yourself. And what do you have to add to the conversation? And then Richard, you'll be next. Go ahead.
Yeah, I just wanted to say, man, that women are her burgers no matter where they at, man. But your passport will give you a better opportunity to meet the women of your dreams, man. That's just my opinion. I don't think you're gonna have a I think you have a harder time meeting her in the States. So I think it's easier. That's not to say you're gonna automatically meet your lady in your dream because you got a passport, but I think you got a better opportunity. And I think women are just different, man, from where they at. Women here have their own perspectives, have their own ideals, have their own ideology, and that's just what it is. They don't mind sharing it with you. They don't mind letting us know. But the problem is, it's not working. So if it's not working, you got to try something different. So
Right.
all I'm saying is, I'm not saying you're not gonna have any problems because you get a Colombian woman, or because you get a Brazilian woman, or because you get an African woman. You can have problems out of any woman, but I believe your problems will be less. I'm sorry. I've been to Brazil 7 times, and I can tell you right now, I have 0 to 0 problems.
And like I said, everybody's experience is going to be totally different depending on who you are as an individual when you get there.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
That's 100% facts. So that's the thing. That's the thing. Everybody's circumstances is going to be different. No excuse. He said he's not going to do Latino women anymore, and that's his right. But the next man might have success with the Latino women.
That's
like
true.
Fearless Travelers having a great success with Latino women. So the thing is, he can't be speaking for all men. We all gonna have different circumstances. I love I loved Peru. I think Peru was a very nice place. I think that's a place where it's not good for, like, if you into that PvP and all that. That's not a good spot. But if you into if you into like a solid relationship, the girls over there, like, they're really into that, man. There is a very serious thing out there. Philippines is another place, which I will congratulate Rolling Travels for going there next month. So salute and Godspeed, man.
Believe me, Globe Spinner been over there. He almost got tied in with one.
Hey, and Drew, sorry, the Pookies already know the Peru, man. The word got out, Drew. The word got out.
Damn.
It's about reading the room, and a lot of guys are just not reading the room because the mind is in, well, I hate to say it, some of the guys' mind is in the gutter. Got to read the room and learn how to vet people properly and stuff like that, and spend that quality time with them.
And here's the thing, not to take anything from Robin, no excuse. The woman was beautiful. She had everything. She was a trophy wife in all perceptions of everything else. It's the expectation that might have been lessened because of the distance and time. Like I said, this is a constantly evolving thing. People are going to be changing. You're going to be growing in knowledge. You're going to grow in experience. Every time you get on a plane and you go somewhere, what happens to you? You change. You gain more knowledge. You gain more information. You grow as an individual. Do you think the other significant person in your life is not doing the same thing? Now, are you guys growing together, or are you growing separately because of distance and other things that are non-communicated? That's the problem when you get into relationships, especially ones that are supposed to be so tightly woven. People forget about bonding. Part of being in a relationship is pair bonding. That's what brings you close together in a relationship, is pair bonding with the person that you're with. Having experiences with each other is what brings you closer. Good experiences and bad ones. That's what makes it even stronger when you have those experiences together. The more you experience apart, it's like you don't need that other person anymore. So then why have them?
I just think it's levels of dopamine.
I think it's way more than that. That's way too simplified.
Can I piggyback off what you said, Roman?
Go ahead.
So, we all know Rob. Rob is a stand-up guy, and I assume that not only, I've seen it, pictures of his wife, beautiful Latina. I know he picked a good woman, and so, this is not a conversation on if he picked the right person or the wrong person. Maybe he may think he had picked the wrong person. I just think that their goals didn't align. Like, maybe that was like miscommunicated, or maybe, whatever was communicated prior to the marriage changed afterwards. But you have to realize is there was a couple of things that he mentioned was that her family had certain expectations of him as well. And I think when he moved their daughter away and she got robbed, I think that changed the ball game. You know what I'm saying? Because now you have this foreigner, and let's be honest, they know that we have a little bit more wealth than them. They expect you to fully take care of their daughter. And he moved her away to another city. He might have been paying all the bills, but she's isolated from her family. So if she's not with her family and she's not with him full time, they probably like, where the hell is our daughter? And she got robbed. So I think personally, he took a L when that happened. You know what I'm saying? Obviously it wasn't intentional, but I think that however he decided to remedy it didn't align with her and her family. And I think that's where probably a big rift happened in their relationship.
And I bet if he had moved there, their relationship would have been entirely different.
Right.
If he married her and said, I'm living here with you, I don't think they would have even been divorced.
It's possible. It's certainly not, impossible, but like, from
Where did America go? He left. Is he coming back? America Talk Live. You can come back up, man. We're getting ready to bring you on.
From what I understand, though, is like, okay, he didn't do a good job of vetting, and he missed a lot of things again. And these are things that I have done.
He didn't say that. I don't want you to put out the wrong information. He didn't say that. He just said there were certain things that they had talked about that changed after they got married. Specifically, her not coming to America, and he could have shifted that and brought her back, but he tried. It failed twice. He actually did apply for the visa, so he actually said that I did change my position, which means he was working with her to accommodate her and change the expectation, and he was going to bring her in, and it got denied twice.
Okay.
So there are certain things that you guys miss and nuances. I don't want you guys to assume the wrong thing. He did change his mindset and was going to bring her back and just couldn't get it approved.
Yeah. I think he could have strengthened that application, whether he was going to bring her on a spousal visa or a tourist visa. He could have strengthened that by living there for a complete year, because there are certain things that these immigration officers look for on the length of the relationship. How long you guys live together. So
the global spinner, I don't think he was bringing her back on a K-1 visa. I think he was trying to get a tourist visa. I think she would have been okay if he would have filed for a K-1 visa. I don't think he did that. I think it was a tourist visa.
And what's a K-1 visa, real quick?
Fiance visa.
Fiance visa, got it.
Yeah, I got a video for that here in a little bit. I'm going to play.
Do you think, Fearless, that they could have questioned it? Because at this point, they were already married. So if he was bringing his wife on a tourist visa as opposed to a spousal visa, do you think they could have questioned that? I don't know.
This is just me hearing into it. I'm thinking he tried to do a tourist visa prior to being married in their first 3 years.
So let's get on the same page. So I got this little short video I'm going to play, and that'll bring us up to speed on the opportunities of how you can get a significant other in country.
Thinking about marriage with a foreign national, these are 3 different options that you may have if you're considering marriage with a foreign national. I'm attorney Angelica Jimenez, and I'm going to go over the 3 options with you. Your first option is a fiancé visa. So what is a fiancé visa? It's basically a non-immigrant visa that allows your foreign fiancé to come to the United States for 90 days, and you must both be married within that 90-day period. Now, before the pandemic, this was one of the fastest ways to get your fiancé to the United States. Now we are facing long wait times. However, they are starting to pick up cases now. Previously, we did see maybe 5 to 7 months wait for these types of visas. Now we are seeing that it can take upwards of 10, 11 months in order to get your fiancé here. But this is a wonderful option. It allows your fiancé to get married with you here in the United States. And it also doesn't allow your fiance to run off and marry somebody else. Once you are married here in the United States, then you can apply for your green card, and in the meantime, you are eligible to receive a work permit and a travel permit while awaiting your green card in the US. Option number 2 is to marry your foreign fiance in their country. Now, this is a great alternative because this will speed things up. Instead of doing a fiance visa, you will be petitioning for your spouse directly. So this means that you travel to their country, you get married, and as long as the marriage is legal in that country, the US will recognize that marriage as being a legal marriage for immigration purposes. Now, in the United States, there are states that offer online marriage, as long as you later go and consummate the marriage. An example is the state of Utah that does this. Now, why is that significant? In some cases, there's laws in other countries that might be restrictive upon marriage. For example, same-sex marriages are not recognized in some countries. So this would be a wonderful option to marry online in the United States, consummate the marriage, and then be able to petition for your foreign spouse. Your third and final option would be to marry here in the United States. Let's say your fiance or your girlfriend or boyfriend has a tourist visa. They can come into the United States. As long as they don't intend to marry during that trip, you can surprise them, you can propose, and then at that point you can get married and then file for your spouse. If you need help deciding or you need help.
All right.
Let me address what he just said.
Go ahead.
He said they denied the second time because she didn't tell them we were engaged the first Visa Act. That is correct, my brother. Here's the reason why. If she was trying to get a tourist visa, one of the stipulations of a tourist visa is you have to show that you have so much family connection in your home country that you will return. If you're saying that you're already engaged, in the person's mind that's giving out the visa, she's not coming back. She's only going to the United States to get married or to not come back. That's not the purpose of the tourist visa. So if they see like some nefarious ways that she's not going there to be a tourist, and that one to be a tourist, 2, that she has some type of job or something that would make her come back, job, kid, bank account. That's why they ask for all of that information, so that she will return back to her home country. They will deny the visa. But my other question to you, Passport, you said she worked as a basically
au pair.
Au pair.
Yeah.
Why didn't you try to find, if she couldn't get then as a tourist visa, why not try to get her a job as an au pair somewhere close to where you're at? Then she could have been up here again, and you could have dated her while she was here. But I know that's in the past, but go ahead.
Right. I just wanted to say, she said the third way was to get married in the United States, obviously under a tourist visa, and then surprise her, like you were just saying, Fearless. You can't come with the intention of getting married under the tourist visa. That's the wrong way to do it. And if they sniff that out, especially if you're the point of contact for the person that they're saying they're going to be visiting on a regular basis, because you do have to declare where you're going. You just don't get to come in and say, I want to be a tourist. You kind of have to have an itinerary, so those are factors where the immigration will say, we're gonna shut that down. And he said au pairs can't be married.
Yeah, so but I was saying prior to them getting married.
If she got here under au pair province, she couldn't get married while she was an au pair, and she would have to go back before she could get married, because they wouldn't allow that to happen under those premises, is what he's basically saying. If she takes the job and comes to the United States under that pretense, they won't allow her to get married at all. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
All right. We got a new member. We got a new member on the panel. Passport, player with a passport, my brother. Been gone for a while, bro. I don't know where you been. You've been working hard in the fields. What's going on with you?
Man, I've been getting to it, man. You know what I'm saying?
It's all good.
Man. That's it. Yeah. No, man, I was gonna I didn't know I was gonna touch on the the vetting of a female.
Okay.
Yeah, and you know what I noticed, and this ain't towards the cat. What's his name?
Passport
Excuses.
Bros podcast or
Okay.
no excuse.
Yeah. This ain't directly towards him. Just in general, what I noticed in the travel space is that there's a lot of men, they haven't gone through the phase of self mastery. You understand? They haven't really gone through the process of conquering themselves. Because when you gone through the process of conquering yourself, you're going to obtain qualities and characteristics, first of all, that women like. But there's also going to come a point in the path where you got to build a relationship with God. You understand? And you got to build an intimate relationship with God. And in building that relationship, he blesses you with an ingredient called spiritual discernment. You understand? And excuse me, that allows you to differentiate between what's good and what's good and beneficial to you versus what's filled with malice and deception. And so a lot of guys, when they're dealing with these women, they're everything is being judged on the surface, right? Everything is being judged kind of like from the flesh perspective, right?
Mhm.
So many people spending so much time trying to satisfy the flesh that they wonder why they have a hard time tapping into a woman spiritually, emotionally, and intellectually, right? Because they haven't gone through that process of self-mastery, right?
Fact.
And they haven't retained those qualities and characteristics that women want in a man, right? Because you come to a point in that process where you leveling up, then you hit a plateau. You can't level up no more. And that's because the situations and the circumstances that you coming across, all your human understanding and knowledge is run its course. You understand? So you got to start giving things to whoever your higher power is. You got to start giving things to him so you can get that, you can punch through to those next levels. You understand? And it's at that point that he begins to show himself through you for others. Right? So even when you do meet a woman, you are no longer seeing her. You understand? Because now you judging her based on you're judging her based on the spirit. You understand what I'm saying? So you looking at the energy, you looking at what frequency she's on, you looking at the vibes, homie. I'm talking about truly rocking and flow state, right? So cats in the travel space, I noticed that there's when you hear a cat, oh, these women, man, they can pass along evil spirits to you. I realized quickly this person got holes in their game, right? Because when you got a relationship with God, homie, the only spirit that I'm vulnerable to is the Holy Spirit. You understand? So just in general, I think more men need to take their relationship building with God more serious, and that's going to help them with the vetting process with these women, because you're going to be looking through a different lens. It ain't going to no longer be a lens of the flesh.
Can I say something real quick?
Yeah.
Yeah, I just wanted to say, man, I mean, that's great and it sounds good, man, but we got to be realistic too. And what I mean by realistic is, there's also scriptures in the Bible. I don't know if you believe in the Bible, but there are scriptures in the Bible that say Solomon, he said, there's many things I found. He said, but an upright woman I've never found. And this man had all kind of wives. And he never, I'm not saying it's impossible, but obviously it's hard to find. So we can't act like it's something everywhere. A upright woman, a righteous type lady, a virtuous type woman is not an easy task, man. But you're right.
I mean, yeah, the Bible says it. He that findeth a wife findeth a good thing. That don't mean it's apparently like going to be right in front of you. You got to go find one.
Right. And I'm also not saying that this woman is going to be perfect. Right. What I am saying very clearly is that a lot of the standards these guys are using ain't working. Plain and simple. So I don't know about you, but I'm the type of person, if I'm doing something and I'm getting the same results on me, I'm gonna change and I'm gonna figure something else out.
No, it's facts.
And they talk about this story about the woman who lost the pearl in the Bible, and she found it when she wasn't looking for it. So, it's just one of those things, man. I mean, I get what you're saying. You do need to stay close to God. I'm not disputing that at all. All I'm saying is that it's
I
just
thought I was
not
the
an
only
easy.
holy roller up in here. But it's coming up here talking Bible shit now.
It's not an easy task, bro. That's all I'm saying. It's not an easy task. I mean, I just say that. I just,
Yeah, I mean, like life ain't an easy task, but that's why God made us men and He gave us a dick and a pair of balls,
Damn.
because He understood that the path that we was going to be walking wasn't going to be an easy path. You understand? You see, a man embraces the difficulties. We take the ladder. We don't take the detour, because we know on the other side of the detour, on the other side of that hardship is going to be the championship. You know what I'm saying? And like anything else, the more and more you do things that are hard, pause, the easier it gets. Same thing with using discernment, right? The more and more you use it, the better off. The more and more you use it, the better you get at it. Now, whether you want to acknowledge it as the regular discernment or spiritual discernment is on the individual, but it's still in essence the same.
well, let me give you one story to bust your bubble a little bit. Let's
Now,
talk
my
about
bubble won't be
Adam and Eve.
busted.
Hold on. Let's talk about Adam and Eve, man. God gave him his wife, and she was talking to a snake, and so I mean, we can't act like this stuff don't go on, man. I mean, come on, man. I mean, he had the wife from God now, and
It was just the way you put it. It was the way you put it. That's all.
Nah, man,
I
I think nah, homie, I understand exactly where you're coming from, man. I mean, there's a lot of stories in the Bible man, where a woman deceived a man. You understand? I'm definitely not saying that women are perfect. Clearly, you ain't heard you don't know the lens that I'm speaking through. You know what I'm saying? But I'm just saying, as a man who is a God-fearing man, you put God before all things. That's all I'm saying, plain and simple, right? So I don't think that it's a bad thing to meet a woman and um and ask that you get some wisdom from a place that you may not normally get it from, right? To help you vet this woman, because that seems to be a big thing in the travel space. A lot of cats are unable to vet these women, and they got all kind of criteria that they done came up with, all kind of checklists. But guess what, homeboy? They still getting scoped. They still getting drugged. They still getting kidnapped.
But we
They
all
still
know
getting extorted.
player with a passport. We all know that those guys are not looking for women and wives because they're in
Right.
the wrong place.
Yeah.
Well,
They're
I'm
in
not
the
looking for a
wrong
wife
place
either.
to be calling them wives if they're getting
Yeah.
scoped. You absolutely. This is where we were
Right.
talking with Globe Spinner about, classism and the type of woman that you're looking for and being able to, like you said, discern the difference. If you down in the lower echelons of the city, that's not a place for a wife.
Right.
Well, I wouldn't necessarily
Let
say
me
that you
think
got to
about
use discernment to find a wife. I mean,
Yeah.
just in general, when you're dealing with women, you know what I mean, you
Yeah,
got to
hold on. Hold on a second.
go
Hold
ahead.
on a second, player with a passport. I like what you said, and I want to piggyback off that, but I also got to support Ronan for what he said. Let's be honest. Let's have an honest conversation here. I want to say 70 to 80% of blue gentlemen or passport bros, they are not looking for wives. It's what I'm saying. So a lot of times these guys that are getting scoped, they're not out there hunting for wives. So I think to answer your question about why are they not properly, being able to vet these women, I think one of the main issues is they are not really studying these women or their culture. Like one of the first questions you should ask yourself is if you're dating a Dominican woman or a Brazilian woman or whatever, how do her own men treat her? How do her father treat her mother? How do her brothers treat women they date? So before you can appeal to this woman and her culture and the type of men that she likes, because she might just like you because you're different, because you're a foreigner. But I think one of the main problem is, and I say this is the main issue that I have with passport bros, is we go to Medellin, we go to these places, and we bring our American mindset, and we try to make these women change to our culture. And that's where you have the problem is, because if you're gonna, and you might as well just marry an American woman. You know what I'm saying? If you're gonna Americanize her, you know what I'm saying? So if you can't study her language and her culture and be able to communicate with her, then how can you say you really, really love that woman?
Yeah, I agree with what you're saying, homeboy. I agree with what you're saying. But I'm not necessarily talking about meeting a wife. You know what I'm saying? This is just that's just one tool in it. That's just one tool in a tool shed, not even a toolbox. You know what I mean? But I agree with what you're saying. But it doesn't necessarily need to be applied to to finding a wife. You know what I mean? It's like if you ever walked into a place, man, maybe you walk into a gathering of some friends, or maybe a workplace, and maybe in the lunchroom, you're at the lunch table at work, and you can sense a negative energy, and eventually you hone in on where that negative energy came from, as far as that employee, or that family gathering or whatever. So it's the same thing, but I understand where you're coming from. And I agree 100%. Yeah, the things that are happening to those guys are because they're dealing with the bottom of the barrel. But you don't necessarily need to
but
use discernment when trying to seek a woman.
Disconnect is. Because we could be having two conversations, right? Well, I thought we were talking about finding a wife or a partner, but if you're talking about just casually dating, or if you're talking about just having fun with women, the women have a different perspective. Because with no excuse going to Africa, or you going to Latin America or Asia, those women don't casually date. They're looking for husbands. So if you go down there to Medellin with the intention, I'm gonna date 2, 3, 4 women, that's fine. It is what it is. But they're coming at you from a different perspective, unless you're from the bottom of the barrel, unless you had that conversation that, hey, this is just for fun times. You know what I'm saying? So I think that's where the disconnect between foreigners and Americans, because a lot of times, like I said, 70 to 80% of us are going down there just to have fun, but they're not vetting you for just having fun. They're looking for a husband. You know what I'm saying? They're looking for you to elevate their situation. So that could be where the problem is.
I mean, but see, I know we're gonna skip over my example, but I gave an example where Adam had the right woman. He had the right woman. I'm talking about the right one now. I ain't talking about the wrong one. He got the right one. He living in paradise. And look what happened. And then the two sons, one killed the other. I mean, bro, you can have the right one. It don't mean you're not gonna have trouble. That's the only point I was trying to make. And I think a lot of brothers don't understand that piece. You might have to, you still might go through a little something with the right one.
Yeah, you good, homie. I mean, at the end of the day, I can say that Adam simped out too.
Adam what?
Oh, no doubt. Oh, no doubt. Oh, no doubt. Oh, no doubt.
Yeah.
Oh, no doubt.
To piggyback off what Glow Spinner had said, then you have to look at one factor. If you're looking at a lot of guys being African American, they're going down there for fun and stuff like that. What about the other African Americans who's going to be going down there taking it to be serious? They may not look at that as, okay, these guys are just another bunch of group of guys that came down there for fun, trying to, have a serious relationship. They're going to take them as, oh, these are the fun guys just as well. They're not serious.
You
That's
can have several serious relationships. Hey, but listen, I don't want to cut y'all off. I got to bang out, man. I appreciate you having me on the panel. I just wanted to chime in real quick, man.
No problem,
I appreciate
brother.
you guys, man. Straight up.
I'm glad to see you going well. You know what I'm saying?
No problem, baby. Absolutely, man. Peace.
Peace out, bro.
Go ahead. We can continue the conversation. We got a new panelist, Yusuke. Am I pronouncing that right?
It's Yasuki.
Yasuki, thank you. What do you have to add? I know you were losing your mind a little bit in the chat. Hopefully you got to take a couple breaths.
My bad, bro.
Okay. That's okay. I understand sometimes we lose it. But what do you have on the conversation right now that we're on? Or anything else that's happened in the conversation?
I'm not gonna say everything I said in the chat, but
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah, be respectful. But anyway, when you're talking about traveling overseas and stuff like that, I actually lived overseas, so it's a whole different ballgame when you actually travel and actually live. And when you live, you experience and you see all the red flags in that country. You see all the red flags in those people. And we ain't just talking about just going traveling for women. We actually talk about like everyday duties
Right.
of what they're doing in that country. So a lot of people just go for a week. They just go for a weekend or maybe a month or two. But they ain't staying there for 2, 3, 4, 5 years. And they really seeing how people move. So when people be like, I'm gonna go get a religion chick, or I'm gonna go get a normal chick that's like this or like that, they really don't know what they're talking about because all this is just a facade. It's just an illusion. You still gotta go vet a person. Period. It
Yeah.
doesn't. It doesn't like have a different perspective just because somebody's in some type of culture or some type of belief system. Just because you see a lady or see someone appear a certain way doesn't mean that she really is a part of that culture. Because for an example, as we was all kids, we was brought up a certain way. I'm pretty sure most of people was brought up in religion or something like that, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
So you got to put it in perspective. Most of us wasn't even feeling that stuff, and I'm gonna be honest, I was one of them. So we can't really say that a lot of those people that's in that country or in that culture are really, really feeling that culture or really want to be a part of that culture. Because you notice when you be around some of them, they listening to like they watching European soccer, they listening to westernized music, and of course they music too. They listening to westernized news. Okay, so they not even watching their news most of the time. They watching our stuff. Okay, they probably know more news than anybody here. I guarantee you go over there and ask them about what's going on with the presidency. They could probably tell you a whole paragraph what's going on. But then you tell them about the history of their country, they clueless.
I agree with you. That's one of the things I was saying, the no excuse about
Yeah,
Africans looking up to Americans. I said that's because that's their goal to be here.
Facts, right? So that's what I'm saying. Like when brothers be saying stuff like that, like how he was saying, like blackness and all that. Like, bro, you don't really know blackness. I've been rostered for 16 years. You don't really know blackness, bro. Them Africans over there they not really appealing to that type of blackness that you think that they supposed to. They're not really related to us like that. We don't have a relationship with them. We're more closer to the
Facts.
people who's on our side, which is the Latin America, which we all know that's not even Latin America. That's a colonized Latin America. So we know they more than that. We know they identified by tribes, but they don't know that because they've been colonized. So how can you say something else is more blackness than the other when everybody else on this globe been colonized and stripped from their blackness, so-called blackness? Because I don't even identify as black, but blackness is a made up word. Just like classism is an illusion too, because capitalism makes you think there's a classism, but
Correct.
capitalism is just
Everybody's
rich
the
versus
same.
poor. Yeah, everybody's the same. So
It's society allowing themselves to be put in boxes.
facts. So when guys be trying to rate girls like, oh, she a 10, she a 9, she a 8, she a 7, it's like now we starting to get into like a westernized mindset because why are we labeling girls or she a 10, she a 9, she a 8? Because you can find quality in a girl that's rated as a 3. She might not look good as a 10, but she might be a quality 3. That is a 10 in another guy's eyes. So when the guy say somebody's a 10, who is really a 10?
I wouldn't even want to deal with a 10, brother. Tell you the truth.
Yeah, I mean, it's just
Too
like
much of a hassle.
it's just like a person say, "Oh, I'm successful." What is success in a capitalistic society? All you is
That's
a
all
consumer.
perception.
Yeah, it's all perception. So it's like we really get into these terms, and it's throwing us off about how we really should be moving, not domestically, but internationally too.
No, you're
And that's
absolutely
how,
right.
yeah, and that's how we get confused into these binds. Like, okay, well, this girl ain't in my class, or she not this, she not that, she not a 10, she not a 7, or she don't carry her way into this type of blackness or this type of culture. Who cares, bro? All you need to know is she good woman? Is she gonna fit your values as a man and help you survive this? Can y'all get money together? Like stuff that's really tangible into society. Like how she gonna help you accomplish sovereignty, bro? You a king, you a god, bro. That's your divine entity in this universe. How she gonna help you get up to that god status? Is what you should be focusing on.
See, now you overstep, Yusuf.
Yeah. So
I don't believe in that part of it. Everybody ain't born to be a king, and everybody ain't born to be a queen.
well, you right, yeah, because I mean you've been in the military. So yeah,
we killing each
right.
other with that shit.
Right.
You know, our
Yeah,
communities
you're
all,
right.
hey queen, hey king. No,
Yeah. Let me take that back.
you might have been a farmer. You might have
Right.
been somebody else in the hierarchy, but you weren't the king. Everybody
you
thinks
might
they
just
deserve to be that leader, and no,
Right.
you don't.
Right. You just probably meant to just be a teacher. You probably ain't ready
Exactly.
to be right. I feel that. So
I mean, you can be the king of your own castle, bro. Just your own
Facts.
castle.
That you can.
Yeah, that you can. Yeah.
I'll give you that.
Well, I'm just saying, like most, as a when I say king of God, I basically mean in knowing yourself, basically.
Right. Correct.
Yeah. So, yeah, I think we just get distracted by stuff like that, and then that make us lose out on certain opportunities
You're right.
in life.
That's
You
fact,
know?
because
You definitely know about Japanese culture, so
yeah, and he's right.
especially
because
carrying that name.
And that's
One of my first friends was a Japanese lady.
Then you know about Ikigai.
Yeah. She was one of my first friends when I was coming up in grade school. My mom babysitted her when she came over from Japan. And she was one of the girls that had like skin disease and stuff like that. So nobody really accepted her. So her parents gave her up for adoption. And my mama adopted her. She was like 8 years old.
Oh wow.
Yeah. Watched her grow up. We graduated the same year too.
But go ahead. Anybody else that wants to jump in? I appreciate your insight, man. Really, it's the first time you come up, and bro, you dropping some jewels up in here. What's up? Why you been holding out?
I had to come up because I was going in the chat. I wanted to be a man and apologize because this show
I
channel,
appreciate
so
that.
I ain't want to disrespect your channel.
Thank you very much for that.
Yeah. I gotta agree with him, because the thing about it is we're like, again, we're bringing these westernized mindsets to countries that it's not on that same vibe. You know, we're not adapting to that culture if we're bringing our mindset to open to these countries, and this is where we screw up, and this is where we're losing, because a lot of these guys. And I'm just going to even bump that number up. I think 90% of the passport bros are not out there looking for wives. They're just looking for fun. It's only 10% of us. And that's what the problem is. And when we don't look for these wives, we're not going to build that empire that we're trying to build, because what we're supposed to be out there for is because we have this issue with the westernized dating scene right now, and now we're just going overseas just to for fun, but we're not looking to build family. We're not looking to get that wife who has those skill sets to build an empire, so we can live happily ever after. It's just fun, and next thing you know, we get burnt out because we're just dealing with pros all the damn time, and next thing you know, we got nothing. What have we done for all these years? Travel and burned ourselves out, and we ain't got nothing to show for it.
Well, one thing is,
and don't get me wrong. My bad, Phil.
No, I think one aspect is we are traveling to different cultures because we're trying to escape the Western culture. And the first thing that a guy does is bring his Western culture to the same place he's trying to escape.
Exactly.
Which makes no sense. That makes no sense. And I think Passport Bro is on here. He says South Africa, Kenya, more westernized and speak good English. Can they be good housewives? Are they still submissive? English does not mean good housewife. I don't know where we get that someone is speaking a different language like Spanish and that constitute to them being good. And that's that, and not to say anything wrong. That just sounds like one of those women who say that. Like, she doesn't even speak English. Well, what does that mean? That doesn't mean anything.
You don't speak their language. What's your point?
Correct. So I don't think that
Most
English
of y'all.
makes whether you're
Right.
a good housewife or not a good housewife. I just think you can go anywhere, and if you're still not looking for that type of woman that you want that has those values, like there's just certain criteria that I go after. I want a woman who has a father because she can see that type of relationship that her mother and father had, and they'll demonstrate that through their life. So those are other criteria that I look for.
Right. Yasuki, now didn't you say in the chat that you lived in Africa for quite a while, right?
Yeah, I've been to 2 countries
What now? How long did you live in Africa?
for 5 years.
So tell us your dating experience in Africa. Is it all they're talking it up to be?
It's a long story, but
Just
since
briefly.
okay, so for instance, I really went there because I had some connections on both sides of the globe. So I had connections here and over there.
Mhm.
'Cause I was trying to do repatriate. Like I said, I've been rostered for 16 years.
Okay.
So yeah, I dated women that was like into my type of frequency, meaning like we was on the same walk together, or I dated other ones that wasn't. But my point is that it ain't just that lifestyle, the dating lifestyle. It's the actual country itself, the cities, the rural areas. I'm just talking about the people in general.
Mhm.
Because one thing that make a country good is the people that's there. You know, how the economy's running, how the people, move around, how they treat you.
Right.
That's one thing my grandfather always told me, is that one thing you always want to observe is how a person treats you, no matter where you go. Whether it's for a short period of time or whether it's for a long time. And you get different experiences from different countries. Like one country might treat you this way, another country might treat you this way. So this is my whole point about going back to, you always got to vet people, no matter if it's just about business, whether if it's about a job, whether if it's just about a relationship, marriage. You always got to go to a perspective of vetting, because especially if you're planning on living somewhere that's not even in your terrain, like that's not even like your terrain. We talk about big mosquitoes that could probably suck your blood and kill you. I'm telling you, dog. Like it's they not lying to you on the movies at how them bugs be on the movies now, because you will see them. Like
Man, I seen a big ass Japanese beetle. Somehow it got to 29 pounds on a Marine Corps base. I saw that big old thing. It was bigger than I have a size 13 foot, and that beetle was as big as my goddamn foot.
Yeah,
I don't know how it got to America, but oh my God.
Yeah, and I know since you were better, I know you've seen a whole lot of stuff more than me, so you can relate. So I mean,
Yeah, them desert spiders ain't nothing to look at either.
ain't nothing to look at. Trust me.
Animal spiders.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And even when I was in the Caribbean, they had flying roaches. Okay, we talking about big as a scorpion roach flying.
That shit freaks you out when they coming at you. Yeah, what the?
Oh yeah. You thinking it's a lightning bug and it's really like looking at you about to fuck you up. Like, excuse my language, but it's serious. Like it's just a whole different atmosphere, a whole different terrain. So when brothers be talking about they gonna move somewhere, I'm just like, man, you really gotta be prepared, because the nature is no joke on this globe, period.
Mm-hmm.
And we don't understand that because we live in cities in America, but they don't understand. Like, it's a whole different world out there, more than just people.
Yeah, you definitely gonna have to give us some creature comforts if you plan on living in certain areas. Or readjust. In the military, we call it acclimation. Take about 30 days to acclimate into a country. Any shorter time period, you don't acclimate. That's where a lot of people within the first week or so, they get colds because there's certain pollen in the air, certain type of microorganisms while you're eating the food. That's why you can't drink certain waters. All that comes into acclimating into the culture and getting your body used to dealing with those new introduced organisms into your breathing cycle and everything else. So Passport Blueprint knows all about it.
Oh yeah, I've been sick about 3 to 5 times over there.
Yeah, so when you go to certain countries and you come down with some kind of bug, that's exactly what it is. It's a bug. And it's your body trying to learn how to ward it off and fight it. And then once it learns, then you get used to it.
You ain't had nothing until you get to Kuwaiti crud.
He's with a Kuwaiti crud.
Y'all, fuck around and find out. That's all I can tell you.
Yeah, but I mean, like, it's just like, you know, like, even like just with we can just talk simple as just fruit juice. I remember I gave a security guard at my crib, I gave him some soursop juice because he was thirsty while he was on the clock. And I went to the market, got him some juice, and then I didn't even see him for like 2 weeks. He got sick. And guess what he had? He had a I forgot what worm he said he had in his drink, because I guess the fruit wasn't all the way ripe or something he was saying. So
Right.
when he drank the juice, he was sick for like 2 or 3 weeks. He had to call off work. And then when I came downstairs, I was like, "Where you been at?" He was like, "I've been sick." I said, "Oh, I ain't trying to kill you now. Don't think I tried to kill you. I just gave you some juice. I didn't even know what was in there." So he was like, "Nah." He said, "It happens all the time here in this country." But he didn't. Like,
Yeah, I
show
mean,
me what type of
soursop
worm.
itself is actually a good thing to take, you know, to clean out your system. But if it's been sitting around or has been exposed outside, depending on the environment, they let some freaking fly land in it and lay fucking eggs all up in. That's why, man, some of these street foods, man, y'all need to stay the hell away from it.
Yeah, stay away from it. Yep, facts. Yeah, because I love soursop because it's real good for men. Like, it helps cleanse your keeps your sperm count up. It helps your testosterone to keep strong, and it helps like even like cure like some of the sicknesses in your body also.
Yeah,
It
we were
goes
just
way
talking about this
beyond.
the other day about all these different holistic and health ways to eat well. But we're gonna. It's 3:44, 3 hours and 44 minutes into the live. We're gonna go ahead and shut it down. We appreciate everybody coming up on the live, on the panel, and participating. I know some of the conversations that we have aren't the most popular, but these are the ones that you need to kind of roll back and replay and see if you can catch some of the gems and jewels that are being spoken by some of the guys that are on these panels with their level of experience of travel and experience in dating. You know, we're talking about, you know, how much do you spend on a date? That's a minor topic to really learning how to vet a woman for proper marriage, you know, and if you're not doing the passport bro thing like Blueprint was saying, you know, maybe it's a 90-10 split between you guys that are traveling just to have fun, and that's okay. But as a natural progression, we should be moving towards the marriage side of the house. After you've established your assets and your wealth, you should be moving to quality, not quantity. As the younger guys are coming up that are having problems dating in America, those are the ones who should be running around doing a thing and trying to dot everything that moves. But at a certain age, man, hang that shit up. You guys should not be in the clubs trying to dance around a whole bunch of chicks. But go ahead, Fearless.
No, I just want to say I appreciate No Excuses Come On. Great for sharing your story. We may critique you, but we're learning. You know, it's good out there. Everybody can be the Monday morning quarterback and see what happened, and they can critique your relationship. I'm sure if 5 years from now I get divorced or something, God forbid, they'll be like, "Well, you should have seen some sign." You know, I don't know what that would be, but so I'm glad that you can see that. I just think moving forward, guys, it doesn't matter where you go in the world. It's sometimes not the women, it's you, and you need to look inside and make you the best and see how you can critique yourself. Because if you're having the same what is it? Crazy is doing the same thing over and over, getting
Yeah. The definition of
every
insanity. The definition of insanity is repeating the same thing over and over again, expecting this different result.
Yeah, and we see that a lot from women who say it's these guys. But one thing I can say that he did say, he didn't put, he took some responsibility for his actions as well. So that's one step in a great direction. And hopefully, when he makes his next step, that he'll be able to reflect and make maybe make a better decision or develop himself a little bit better.
And like I said, don't be afraid to fail. I mean, that's how you grow. Everything in life is not perfection. I mean, what do they say? It takes 10,000 hours invested in order to become professional or proficient at something. So you're going to fail over those 10,000 hours. It's how you recover, how you get back up, and you keep going at it. Just recover. And with that, go ahead, Suki.
I was just saying, like, for all brothers, don't just assume anything just because they into something that you may think that's positive, but it may not be positive. You still have to observe, you still have to use discernment, and you still have to vet everything in life so you can make the best decision possible.
Right.
That's it.
Because there still might be a snake crawling around in paradise, bro.
Facts.
Always.
I'm telling y'all brothers that, man. Y'all brothers
Always.
don't want
There's a snake in the bush. Always. Always. All right, guys, we're going to go ahead and shut it down. I don't think we have an outro song, do we?
No, we don't. But make sure you comment, like, and subscribe. Watch our video yesterday. We had some good insights, like I talked about. We talked about some men's health issues that we was going through. Some things that we tried to help Darnell with, his erectile dysfunction and premature ejaculation. So we have a therapist that comes on.
Don't you listen to these funky ass niggas tell you shit.
Let me correct that statement. No, we were talking about Fearless's fetish because he kept bringing that prostate.
Congratulations, you played yourself. Congratulations.
No, he wanted to know more from who was on there. Who was on there talking about they got a prostate massage and they do it?
What?
That was you.
What? Bro, what are you talking about?
Was it Strictly Travels? Who was that? Well, whomever. We know that that's his. And he can't wait to pop that off. But until next time, guys, we got Thursday night therapy in Lions Den, so make sure you tune in and watch us. We appreciate the support. You guys have a good evening, and I just say vet well, vet good. What is the thing? Measure twice, cut once.
Yeah.
All right.
That is the thing.
We out.